When and where it mattered, Tennessee made the plays to get the job done against a very talented Mississippi State team. Yet, most people are categorizing it as an ugly win for the Volunteers, and maybe for good reason, because their victory on the road wasn't quite rewarded in this week's AP poll. Let's get into it. I'm Paige Dauer. This is the sports page on Full Disclosure. If we take a quick look at this week's AP poll, Tennessee stays at number 15, kind of surprisingly, despite a 41-34 victory over Mississippi State, of which the Bulldogs are still receiving AP votes. This week they received the third most outside of the top 25 with 46. And I think one of the main ways for Tennessee to climb in the AP poll is if we go to the very last drive of regulation for Tennessee, and it was an absolute head scratcher and their clock management. Tennessee got the ball back with 1:16 to go in regulation. They started at their own 26-yard line, and what happened over the next three plays, 59 seconds were drained, and most of it came between the first and second down, the first and second play of that drive, where nearly 25 seconds ran off. And for some reason, that wasn't the main question following the victory for Tennessee. Actually, the timeout conversation came later in the drive, and it came here. Joey Aguilar had just scrambled for 9 yards, made it a second and manageable. 24 seconds left. Tennessee calls its first of three timeouts there. Then you get to the play with Deshaun Bishop, where it's a nice run. He flips the field, and Tennessee is able to kind of continue their march, and the timeout wasn't called there.
We had the second play ready to go. That's why I didn't use it there.
As we start to reason with Josh Heupel's explanation as to why he called a timeout here but didn't call it there, shoulda, coulda, woulda, I get to this comment by a good friend of the show and Christopher Gabriel with KMJ Radio, and the clock management on this drive was absolutely dreadful. I understand Heupel not wanting to leave Mississippi State time, but you have to play to win the game, and it's in those moments where you realize that it's starting to look that maybe Heupel and company are just outsmarting themselves.
The time that it ended up probably would have been right. So, Joey scrambles around on the play and burns the clock. So,
Tennessee was going to have to drive 74 yards in 83 seconds to potentially walk it off against Mississippi State. That is a massive undertaking to be able to do that, even if all things go well. And you realize that you have all three of your timeouts. You're trying to get lined up for the second play of the drive. 10, 15, 20, 25 seconds goes before they're able to get the snap off. It's in those moments where those 25 seconds felt like an eternity. And for good reason. It wasn't just your standard 25 seconds in the middle of the game and you got 2 quarters left to play. Those 25 seconds ends up being 30% of the time you have on that drive, right? You have 83 seconds. You run off 24, 25 seconds. That's 30% of your allotted time to get a potential walk-off completed, gone. And when you have all three of your timeouts and you're really hoping you don't have to make a call that you don't want to, disrupt whatever rhythm you feel is out on the field, after 10 or 15 seconds goes by, you have to make a call you weren't wanting to, and that's calling a timeout. And it gets to later in the drive, too, where we could maybe look to the second fold of this response by Josh Heupel when he mentions, time being burned on Aguilar's scramble. There was a moment, depending on what drive you really want to look at, where time was drained because you're either really trying to get it to Miles Kitselman on one of those plays, or he spends 5 seconds to scramble for 9 yards. It's probably not that one. It's probably the one where several more seconds were run off the clock to get to Kitselman. But if the theme remains the same, guys, and it's about wasting time, I think you could go to even before Tennessee got the ball at their own 26-yard line, and it goes to when Boo Carter trotted out on the field to get there for special teams on the punt return. The conversation, and I don't know if it was or was not, with the special teams unit, and specifically with Boo Carter, should have been, unless you see a gaping hole of nothing but green pastures ahead of you, signal a fair catch. Do not try to run this ball back. And I know he is so electric with the ball in his hands. Like, he can create plays that look like nothing's there, probably better than most people, not only in the league, but across, D1 football. And that just it didn't feel like that was the time to go and try that. Also because he returned it for 1 yard and it chewed up 15 seconds. So if it's a matter of, burning the clock because you're scrambling or it's taking forever to get a play, together, you also wasted valuable time there following that match. I'm curious kind of what you guys are thinking, knowing that Tennessee's just one of a handful of teams that didn't move at all. Let me know your thoughts. I'll be back Monday. See you guys then.
Your business can't afford the downtime that comes with a leaky roof. So whether you need a repair or a replacement, count on the professionals from McGuire Roofing and Construction. Your protection is our passion. We service and sell all types of roofs and have worked with some of East Tennessee's most recognized names. We have 25 years of experience and free inspection estimates, plus best in business warranties. Put an end to your roofing problems today by calling McGuire Roofing and Construction.